Most people start boxing at home by buying a heavy bag and immediately trying to throw fast, hard punches. But an effective day one follows this specific volume, a daily routine of up to 800 punches, divided between the jab, cross, uppercut, and hook. Crucially, these are performed entirely in empty space. Prioritizing speed early on causes your form to break down. When mechanics fail, the force of the strike travels directly into your wrist joints and shoulder tendons, leading to immediate injury. Every movement must be governed strictly by structural form. At this stage, you must actively remove power from the equation. By focusing on a slow, isolated movement, you maintain total control over your balance and ensure your joints are perfectly aligned through the entire extension. Striking power develops as a long-term result of these mechanics. This slow, awkward phase builds the framework required to safely support high-velocity impact later on. We begin with the jab and the cross. These linear strikes are your primary tools for measuring and controlling the distance between you and your opponent. To throw these safely, extend the arm fully, but stop just before the elbow locks out. This alignment protects the joint from the shock of hyperextension. You must complete between 200 and 300 repetitions of these straight strikes every single day to meet the baseline volume. Throughout all 300 reps, the non-punching hand must remain anchored to your face. When the right hand strikes, the left hand stays in a high defensive guard. This high-volume daily repetition slowly programs the central nervous system to maintain rotational balance and precise distance management automatically. After the straight punches, the routine shifts from forward linear movement to the vertical scooping motion of the uppercut. Instead of merely lifting the arm, you generate the upward path by dropping your hips and driving through the kinetic chain of your legs and core. This vertical muscle memory requires another 200 to 300 repetitions daily to become a permanent part of your movement. Beginners often drop hands to the waist for momentum, leaving the head unprotected. The strike should launch directly from a compact guard at chin level. These slow, high-rep sets act as a diagnostic tool, training your legs and torso to coordinate perfectly with the movement of your shoulders. The hook is the most mechanically complex punch for a beginner because it requires a precise lateral sweeping motion. Because the form is so difficult to maintain, you must reduce the daily volume for this specific punch to a ceiling of 150 to 200 repetitions. Muscular fatigue will disproportionately affect the hook. If you exceed the 200 rep limit, your wrist angle will likely collapse, leading to a high risk of injury. Completing the full 800 punch routine results in unavoidable physiological stress. You will feel acute soreness across your upper body. The triceps experience the most friction from repetitive arm extension. The latissimus dorsi and rear deltoids also fatigue, pulling the punch back after every strike. This soreness indicates a mandatory biological adaptation phase. These muscles are actively strengthening to physically support the high-velocity striking that you will do in the future. Once the shadowboxing form is set, you can begin transitioning from empty air to physical targets, such as a suspended tire or a homemade bag. You must maintain light contact when first introducing a physical barrier to your fists. Notice the impact here. Even a light strike sends a kinetic shockwave backward through the knuckles and into the wrist structure. Light, rhythmic tapping against a target safely calcifies the hand bonds and strengthens the tendons without the trauma of a heavy hit. Avoid the instinct to hit these DIY setups with power. Early power striking against a dense object is the most common cause of wrist sprains and knuckle fractures. At this stage, the target is a structural diagnostic tool. It exists to ensure your slow-motion form holds up when it meets physical resistance. To recap the daily requirement, 200 to 300 jabs and crosses, 200 to 300 uppercuts, and 150 to 200 hooks. Surviving the first few days of slow, relentless repetition is what allows you to eventually perform these movements with automatic, flawless technique. Combat fitness is forged through the quiet, daily accumulation of perfect repetitions at home. Master these numbers and subscribe for the next step in the progression.